on page 320 at line 1242. Okay? The lady of the castle, we're never told her name. This is the knight's wife, has sneaked, if you want, into Sir Gawain's room, tells him, my husband's gone, my helpers are gone, the door is locked, we're high, away from everybody else, physically high, not the other kind of high. And I'm here and you can have me as you please. And she says, because you are Sir Gawain and are reputed the most honorable, the most courteous, the paragon of love and all this kind of stuff. And he says, oh shucks, ma'am, I'm not that Sir Gawain. Okay? Line 1242. I am not in fact such a man as you speak of. To deserve such respect as you have just described, I am completely unworthy, I know very well. How does Sir Gawain begin the poem? That is, what is our experience of him when we first meet him? What is he demonstrating? Humility, okay? He's doing the same thing here. So, he says, I should be happy indeed if you thought it proper that I might devote myself by words or by deed to giving you pleasure. It would be a great joy. If you think it's appropriate, I will give you pleasure by words or deed. That is, through conversation, or we can stop talking. Okay? In all truth, she says, if the excellence and gallantry everyone admires, I were to slight or disparage, that would hardly be courteous. That is, your gallantry, she is saying, in your excellence, everyone admires. If I were to downplay that, that would be, and again, we hear this word, discourteous, okay? So you get the emphasis or the idea of how important courtesy is to this culture, or courtesy is to the courtly love tradition, okay? So, she goes on. But a great many ladies would much rather now hold you, sir, in their power, as I have you here. Now remember, what kind of power does she have him in? What physically is she doing at this moment? She's sitting on the side of the bed, and I think she's got him pinned down. Whether it's his shoulders are pinned or his arms are pinned. Okay? She's saying, a lot of women would like to trade places with me. To spend time amusingly with your charming talk, delighting themselves and forgetting their cares, than much of the treasure or wealth they possess. But I praise that same Lord who holds up the heavens. She's talking about God. I have completely in my grasp the man everyone longs for through God's grace. Notice the juxtaposition. God's grace has brought you here so that we can have an adulterous love affair. Kind of, the two don't really mix well. Okay? Radiant with loveliness, great favor she conferred. What does that mean? Great favor she conferred. What is she giving to Sir Gawain if he receives it? Herself. Okay. The knight with virtuous speech answered her every word. Okay. And we don't talk about it much, but what does that word answer mean? It has within it, that is historically, etymologically, it has within it the idea of a sword. Okay? And what are you doing when you answer somebody? It's almost like you are verbally parrying those words. So, the words come at you. If you answer with virtuous speech, what does that mean you do? You deflect what is being said at you with your virtuous speech. So that's what he's doing. In other words, Sir Gawain realizes what is going on, right? Or is he just completely naive and thinks she's just a really nice lady? Okay? Yeah, I don't think he's that naive. He might be naive. I don't think he's that naive. Okay? So, she has said, I praise that same Lord who holds up the heavens, that she brings God into the conversation. And so Sir Gawain's going to kind of like say, I see your God, and I raise you one married. Lady, said the man pleasantly, may Mary repay you. Okay? This is his virtuous answer. May Mary repay you, for I have truly made proof of your great generosity. And many other folk win credit for their deeds. Why does he say, may Mary repay you? What's Mary symbolic of? Louder?
The Mother of God.
Mother of God, okay. What else? Virtue, virginity, purity. Okay. Remember, she's on the inside of his shield. We don't know where Sir Gawain's shield is, but I kind of imagine if the hangings on the four-poster bed, if she's pulled aside one of those curtains, maybe leaning up against the castle wall is his shield. And he looks at her and he sees through the corner of his eye that image of Mary. It's kind of like, oh yeah, I am her knight, we've been told already. So, but the respect shown to me is not at all my deserving. That is, may Mary repay you for what? For your generosity. But I don't deserve the grace and the credit you're giving me. That honor, the respect you've shown to me, that honor is due to yourself, who know nothing but good. So he's describing her character, not Mary's, the lady's. He says, you know nothing but good. What's he mean? Now, it could be that the Sir Gawain poet knew some of the works of Thomas Aquinas, okay? Great doctor of the medieval Catholic, the great doctor, I should say, of the medieval Catholic Church. But Aquinas and others before him and after him essentially said that love of God is the summum bonum, highest good. Okay? So he's telling her, you know nothing but good. He's essentially equating this lady with Mary. He's saying, there's no evil about you. There's nothing false about you. There's nothing wrong or bad about you. Is he being hyperbolic? Probably. Okay. By Mary. In other words, I see you're Mary, and I'm going to add another Mary. It's like they're playing poker. By Mary, said the noble lady. To me, it seems very different. Seems. What kind of verb is seems? It's conditional. Called a subjunctive. Okay? What does it mean?
Based on perception.
Okay, partially.
What does subjunctive have to do with like desire, causality, conditionality?
No. Condition contrary to fact.
If then.
Okay? Mother Teresa seemed like a really rotten, foul person. Now, if you know anything at all about Mother Teresa, that's not true, unless you're Christopher Hitchens, who didn't like her, okay? Kim Kardashian seems like a nice, wholesome woman. All you have to do is spend 5 minutes on the internet, and you'll find that's not necessarily the case, okay? That's a subjunctive. So, she says, to me, it seems very different. What's the it? This whole little situation they're in right now. Okay? And when she says it seems very different, she's implying she's not quite happy with what's going on. Okay? Keep in mind, one of those laws of courtly love is that if you must turn down a lady's advances, you have to do it in such a way that she's not upset or unhappy. She has to think she turned you down, kind of, in other words. To me it seems very different. For if I were the worthiest of all women alive, and held all the riches of the earth in my hand, and could bargain and pick a lord for myself, for the virtues I have seen in you, Sir Knight, notice she doesn't call him by name here, she kind of distances, Sir Knight here, of good looks and courtesy and charming manner, all that I have previously heard and now know to be true, no man on earth would be picked before you. Okay, so if I were the worthiest of all women alive, let's say within the Arthurian tradition, that would be Guinevere. Okay, and I had all the wealth of the world, blah, blah, blah. She says, I'd still want you. And he says, indeed, noble lady, you have chosen much better. Meaning, your husband. Okay? You have chosen much better. But I am proud of the esteem that you hold me in. And in all gravity, your servant, my sovereign, I consider you. That is, I, your servant, consider you to be my sovereign. And notice, it's in all gravity, meaning in all seriousness. Right? Because in both the courtly love tradition and in the chivalric tradition, when a man places himself before a woman as a vassal, that's serious. It's not just simple games. Okay? I consider you, and then notice how he finishes, and declare myself your knight, that is, I'm yours to command. May Christ reward you. I see you're Mary, and I raise you Jesus, So they chatted of this and that until late morning. And always the lady behaved as if loving him much. What's the as if mean? Again, it's subjunctive. It's not necessarily the case. Okay? The knight reacted cautiously in the most courteous of ways. That is, he's being very careful that he doesn't lead her on and that he doesn't disappoint her, though she was the loveliest woman he could remember. He felt small interest in love because of the ordeal he must face very soon. That is, he's not really interested in love, romance, or let's even get base and just say sex, because in a couple days he's got to go get his head lopped off. Kind of kills the whole desire thing. He felt to stand a crushing blow and helpless sufferings, blah, 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 blah. So she bids him goodbye, glanced at him and laughs, and as she stands, she issues a rebuke to him. Uh-oh, he's done something wrong. May he who prospers each speech repay you this pleasure. But that you should be Gawain, I very much doubt. He's like, whoa, why? What have I done? Fearing he had committed some breach of good manners. What did I do to annoy her? What did I do to upset her? She says, bless you for this cause. So good a knight as Gawain is rightly reputed. Again, reputation. Is reputation always true? No. Okay. In whom courtesy is so completely embodied. He is like the incarnation of courtesy, supposedly, according to his reputation. Could not easily have spent so much time with a lady without making a kiss to comply with politeness, manners. If you had shown good manners, you would have at least asked me for a kiss, she's saying, by some hint or suggestion at the end of a remark. Right? Notice it wouldn't have been blatant. Then Gawain said, let it be as you wish. I will kiss at your bidding, as befits a knight. Okay? Now he's safe there. He's just offered to do what she's asked. Should he shut up at that point? Yes, he should. Okay? If he wants to maintain his being as a Christian knight. But look at his next line. I will kiss at your bidding as befits a knight, and do more rather than displease you. So urge it no further. I'll do more than kiss, but don't ask me to. He said I will, but let's not go there, really. Okay? With that, she approaches him and takes him in her arms, stoops graciously over him and kisses the knight, because he's still lying down in bed. They politely commit each other to Christ's keeping. In other words, nothing wrong has gone on. Okay? She goes out of the room, and he gets up, gets dressed. Meanwhile, out in the forest, the lord of the castle is out slaughtering Bambi, And we get the big, long description of the deer being killed and gutted. So the knight comes back to the castle. And bottom of 323, he says, this is yours. According to our oaths that we swore the night before. So, he says, does this game please you? Game, both meanings. Okay. The game of the exchange of winnings game, and the game as in the wild caught meat. Okay. Does this please you? Sir Gawain says, yes, indeed. Best venison I've had many years. It's all yours. For by the terms of our compact, top of 324, you may claim it as yours. Sir Gawain, yep, that's true. Oh, and I've got something for you too. Which I've honorably, notice he throws in that honorably, won inside this castle. And he takes the other's neck in his arms and he plants him a kiss. Here's my winnings. Didn't get any more. Good thing. I bestow it on you freely and would do so were it more. The knight says, okay, great. Okay. Where did you get this? Not part of the agreement. How do I know you didn't go down to slaughteradeer.com and buy the deer? Okay. So they sit by the fire, and the Lord says, let's do it again. Okay. What you get tomorrow, you give to me. What I get tomorrow, I give to you. Okay. So the next morning, the Lord and his men go off hunting. What do they hunt this time? The first day, it's a deer. The second day, it's a boar. The third day, it's a fox. Okay? So, they go off hunting the fox, the boar, and line 1469 or so. Meanwhile, back at the castle, while our gracious knight lies in his bed, Gawain happily at home amid bright-colored bedding so rich, nor did the lady fail to wish her guest good day. She was here early. She comes to the curtain, peeps in. He welcomes her. Notice he doesn't pretend to be, asleep this morning. She returns his greeting. And then she says, if you are really Sir Gawain, it astonishes me that a man always so strongly inclined to good cannot grasp the rules of polite behavior. In other words, I'm keeping track, and man, you're just messing up. You're not being courteous. What did I do now? You've quickly forgotten what I taught you yesterday, the very truest lesson I could put into words. He's like, sorry, it ain't so bright, We talked about kissing. To act quickly wherever a glance of favor is seen, that befits every knight who practices courtesy. So Sir Gawain, notice, he's got a good reply here. He's like, well, dear lady, enough of such talk, for I dare not do that lest I were refused. She says, when we last left off, we were talking of kissing, and I told you could kiss me. And he's like, yeah, but what if I leaned in to kiss you and you were repelled or you pulled away? Okay, that would mean she feels bad about it. All the laws of courtly love, blow up. If repulsed, I should be at fault for having presumed. Ma foi, my faith, she says. You could not be refused. Okay, ladies, who do you want to cast as Sir Gawain? Who could most women not refuse? My daughters, my wife would probably say, I don't know, name just about any one of the Hemsworth brothers, except for the short, fat one that nobody knows his name. But the other three, my wife would still say Sean Connery, even though he's like 100. He's better looking now than he was in the 60s. Okay? But some really, really hunky guy, okay? You could not be refused. You are strong enough to force your will if you wish. Okay, so is she talking rape fantasy going on here? If any woman were so ill-mannered as to reject you. Okay, she's really getting close to the borderline, right? If any woman were so ill-mannered to reject you, you could take her anyways. She is suggesting. Yes, indeed, says Sir Gawain. In other words, damn straight I could, if I wanted to. What you say is quite true. But in my country, meaning not out here in the sticks, not here where there's no civilization, not here where there aren't rules, because of what she's implying, but in my country, force is considered ignoble. In other words, back at Camelot, we don't just rape women when we want them. Though, hold on until we get to the Wife of Bath's tale, okay? When a knight of Arthur's court does rape a woman, okay? My country, force is considered ignoble, and so is each gift that is not freely given. In other words, I couldn't just kiss you because that's not a kiss given, that's a kiss taken. I am at your disposal. So to kiss when it pleases you. In other words, he's like a wind-up doll. You want me to kiss you? Wind me up. I'm here. Start kissing. You may take one when you like and stop as seems good in a while. Define in a while. Okay. Again, ladies, Q, who you would imagine as Sir Gawain the Green Knight. You gonna kiss him just once? Or are you gonna hold him there for a while? Okay? So she bends down over him, gives him a kiss, and they discuss love's misery and bliss. Why love's misery and bliss? Why isn't it just love's bliss?
Well, the misery is because she's married to somebody else.
Okay.
She wants more.
Do you know any tales of love's misery and bliss? Have any of you read Keats' La Belle Danseuse Merci? Okay. About the fairy lady and the knight? What other tales of love's misery and bliss? Romeo and Juliet, which is after this time period, but still. How about one that's in this time period? Lancelot and Guinevere. Tristan and Isolde. Okay. I think he's French. A scholar in the 40s, a guy named Denis de Rougemont, which I think means something like Dennis of the Red Mountain, wrote a book called Love in the Western World, which was pretty influential when it was written because essentially what he's arguing, his thesis is that all true love literature, real romantic literature in the Western world is literature of this, the Liebestod, okay? The love, death. And it's also almost always adulterous. Again, not because it's in the courtly love tradition. He's not necessarily talking about courtly love. He's talking about the really great, passionate, romantic literature. If you ever read Dante, early on in Dante, you become introduced to two great lovers, okay? Real people, Paolo and Francesca, okay? Paolo and Francesca go off one day. Paolo is Francesca's husband's brother, if I remember right. Either his brother or his best friend. And so they go off one day and they're sitting and they're reading tales of love's misery and bliss. And as they read, they start glancing at each other, and they pretty soon forget the book and start practicing love's misery and bliss. And her husband finds them making love and runs them through with a spear. Okay? So that they get sent to hell, top circle of hell, okay, where they are for all eternity pursuing one another and getting oh so close inside, if I remember correctly. Okay? So, notice the situation. She's in his bedroom. Her husband's miles away. Servants are far away. And they're sitting here doing what? Talking about love. Talking about love stories. Talking about young men and young women. What's going on physically in them while they're doing this? Probably the hormones are starting to, rage a little bit. So she says, I would learn from you, sir, if the question was not irksome, what the reason was that someone as young and valiant as yourself, so courteous and chivalrous as you are known far and wide, and of all the aspects of chivalry, the thing most praised is the true practice of love. Okay? That's not necessarily the thing most praised of chivalry. That's the thing most praised of courtly love. Knighthood's very lore. For to speak of the endeavors of true knights, the written heading and text of their deeds is that how knights have ventured their lives for true love. What's her point? What does she mean when she says, I would learn from you? You're a knight. The point of being a knight is love. Ergo, I would learn love from you. She says, 1522, and here I've sat by you now on two separate occasions, yesterday morning and today, and I never heard one word from your mouth about love of any kind. In you, who make such courteous and elegant vows. What kind of courteous and elegant vows does he make? You are my sovereign, I am your vassal, I am here to do with as you please. We can start kissing and we'll stop when you want. And we can do more than that, but please don't urge it. Okay, those are courteous and elegant vows. Should be eager, that is, you should be eager to instruct a youthful creature and teach her some elements of skill in true love. What does she mean, a youthful creature? Well, golly gee, Mr. Gawain, I just don't know much about love. Can y'all teach me? What? Are you ignorant who enjoy such great fame? That is your fame false rumor? Is it not based in reality? Or do you think me too silly to talk, to take, in courtly chat? Silly. The original meaning of that word silly means foolish. And I think she means, do you take me to be too foolish, too country-wise ignorant to take in the language of court. For shame. I come here alone and I sit to learn your special play. Like your routine. How do you do it? Show me. Teach me. Okay? Show me your expertise while my husband is away. She's like saying, pull out your, the joy of chivalric sex or something, okay? And teach me. He says, in good faith, may God reward you. Please, God, help me right now. Put a wall right there between us. It gives me great gladness and pleases me hugely that one as noble as yourself should make your way here. That is, you don't know what it means to me to have you come all the way up here every morning and spend a few minutes with a lowlife like me. Trifling with your night, with any kind of favor. It gives me delight. But to take the task on myself of explaining true love, and treat the matter of romance and chivalric tales to you, whom I know well, have more expertise in that subject by half than 100 such men as myself ever can, however long I may live, would be absolute folly, noble lady. What has he just said? Okay, a little more classy than that, but he's saying, whoa, time out here. You want me to teach you about love when you know more about that subject by half than 100 men? Okay, more by half than 100 men. It doesn't mean 50 men. He means you know more than 150 men. No matter how long I live. He's saying, honey, I would never know as much about love as you. See, yeah, I may have been around the block once or twice, but you've been around the whole damn city. So he says it would be absolute folly. But notice what he's not said. He didn't say what Devon said. He didn't say, I can't teach you anything because you're a whore. Because how would she take that? Well, I never. And he'd probably say, want to bet? I will carry out your desires with all my power, as I am in all duty bound. Why? Because he swore vassalage to her, and always will be the servant of your wishes. May God preserve me. In other words, whatever your wish is, whatever your delight is, I will serve it. May God save me. Okay? Thus that lady made trial of him. Fancy way of saying what? She's tempting him. Okay? Tempting him many times to have led him into mischief, whatever her purpose. Okay? What does the whatever her purpose imply?
It's not necessarily about just the physical act.
Exactly. It's not just about sex. In fact, it may not even be about sex at all. Okay? Because what does the word purpose mean? What's the purpose behind the trials? What's the purpose behind the temptation? Most people think, okay, if somebody's tempting you to have sex, then the purpose is have sex. But it's not clear. Yeah. Whatever her purpose, but he defended himself so skillfully that no fault appeared, nor evil on either side. What does it mean, no fault appeared? He doesn't give in, first of all, and he doesn't give offense. He doesn't say, like Lawnval says to Guinevere, ew, no. You know, the chamberwoman at my house, is finer than you are. Doesn't do any of that. Moreover, no fault appeared, nor evil on either side. But wait a second. If you're tempting somebody, doesn't that imply some kind of evil intent? But the poet says, she's not evil. She's tempting him, but she's not evil. Whatever her purpose. Okay? So we're back to that phrase. Is her purpose really to tempt him? That is, she's putting out all the right signals, right? I mean, it sounds like she wants to hop into bed with him. So what if he were to say, let's imagine an alternate ending to Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. He says, yeah, okay, your husband's not here. Hop in. Okay. Would she? See, that's the whatever her purpose. Maybe the purpose is solely to tempt, but not consummate. Okay? So, they laugh and banter long. Then she kissed her guest and leaves. Meanwhile, back in the forest, we see the boar being gutted, slaughtered, etc. Okay, what's the difference between a deer and a boar? I don't mean genus kind of difference, but aggression? Okay. Is Bambi going to charge you down and kill you? Maybe when he's older and has a big rack on his head and everything, but no, little Bambi with Thumper's not going to hurt you. Okay? A boar? Yeah, a boar's going to rip you to shreds. A boar is a very dangerous animal to hunt. Okay? A deer isn't. Even a full-grown stag is not nearly as dangerous as a boar. Okay? So, what might the poet be suggesting? Because notice, first day, kiss. Okay? Exactly. These are the winnings. Deer, boar, kiss. So the knight comes back and he says, look what I caught. It's yours if you want it. Part of our agreement. So Gawain says, cool. Yeah, it's good. I'll take it. Oh, here's yours, by the way. And the knight's like, I'm not sure about this game because you're scoring pretty good here. Okay? And so what does he do the night that he brings the boar back? He says, Sir Gawain talks to him about the Green Chapel. The knight says, you don't need to worry about it. It's only a couple miles away. Lie in your bed enjoying your ease. Meanwhile, I'm going to hunt in the wood, and we'll keep the compact. Exchange winnings. This is line 1678, page 331. Exchange winnings with you when I return here. All right? For I have tested you twice. All right? And find you trustworthy. Now tomorrow, remember, best throw third time. What does that mean, best throw third time? Okay. It means first two don't count. 3 strikes. Okay, exactly. It means everything is riding on this third one. First 2 times, you've been trustworthy. Okay? So, the knight goes off in the morning, calls for his horse, and they go off and they hunt. Little Reynard the fox. Which of the 3 animals is most dangerous? The boar. Fox. Foxes aren't like, German shepherds. They're not big and massive. They're not going to jump you. They're not going to rip you to shreds. Okay? You kick a fox, you kill it. Essentially. What are foxes known for? Deceitful, cunning, tricky. Okay? Which tells us then, what's going to happen with the third temptation? It's going to be trickier. So, meanwhile, back at the castle, line 1757. The gracious lady approached him, laughing sweetly, bent over his handsome face and kissed him. He welcomes her politely, sees her radiantly and attractively dressed, every part of her perfect, hot, passionate feeling welled up in his heart. Why? Because not 5 minutes before then, he'd been thinking about his fate tomorrow when he has to go and find the green chapel. Smiling gently and courteously, they make playful speech. All that passes between them is happiness, joy, and delight. Okay? Gracious words they spoke, and pleasure reached its height. Great peril threatened. Should Mary not mind her night? Notice the way the poet puts it. It's not, should the knight not mind Mary. Okay? The onus is put on Mary. Mary had better be looking out for Sir Gawain, or he's going to screw up. Why? Because he's not thinking of Mary right now. For that noble lady, so constantly pressed, pushed him so close to the verge. In other words, it's like she's feeling out his weak points. She senses a weakness, boom, she's there. Okay? Pushed him so close to the verge, that is, so close to the edge, that either mean he must take her love there and then, or churlishly reject it. Either he sleeps with her, or he says, "Be gone, foul whore." He felt concerned for good manners, lest he behaved like a boor, and still more, lest he shame himself by an act of sin. So notice what's going on in Sir Gawain's mind. He's thinking of manners, he's thinking of courtesy, he's thinking of knightly behavior, he's also thinking of his soul. If he sins and treacherously betray the lord of the castle, God forbid, that shall not come about. Right? So she kind of gets up and gets ready to leave, says, "You deserve rebuke if you feel no love for the person you are lying beside. More than anyone on earth, wounded in her heart." Oh, she's displeased. He's violated the laws of courtesy. Unless you have a mistress, someone you prefer, and have plight to troth with that lady, so strongly tied that you wish not to break it, which now I believe. In other words, what has she just said? I'm lying here beside you. Come on, buddy, what gives? Why didn't you make a move on me? Unless you're betrothed. Unless you're already engaged. What has she given him? Big, huge, massive exit. He could just walk right through that door, say, "Yep, that's it. I've got a betrothed back where I'm from." But that would be what? A lie. Okay? And what does the pentangle represent? His perfectness in the 5 fives, and ultimately it is a sign of fidelity. Okay? Faithfulness, which is also truthfulness. So she says, "I beg you now, tell me honestly, break my heart gently." He says, "By St. John, in truth I have no one, nor seek one for this while. Nope, no lover, and have not been looking for one." She says, proverbial stab in the heart. That's the worst you can make. "But I am answered indeed, and painfully I feel. Kiss me now lovingly." So she's going to go away downhearted, brokenhearted. He's offended her. "And I will hasten from here. I must spend my life grieving as a woman deeply in love." She stoops down, kisses him sweetly, and then moves away. And she says, "Give me something. Something to remember you by. A present." And he's like, "I don't don't have anything. I wish I had here the dearest thing in the world I possess for your love, for you have truly deserved wonderfully often more recompense. He says, but I don't have anything worthy to give you. Okay? And she says, okay, then you take one from me. Though I get no gift from you, you shall have one from me. She holds out a ring. Sparkling jewel. And the poet says, take my word, it was worth an enormous sum. He says, no, I can't take any gifts from you. Why? What does gift giving always involve? A return. You give me, I get quid pro quo, I want no gifts. Dear lady, at this time I have nothing to offer you, so I won't take anything. She presses him insistently. He declines her request. Okay. She says, okay, so you won't take my ring because it's too precious. Okay. How about my girdle then? This sash she's wearing around her waist. She unbuckles it, hands it to him. It's embroidered at the edges, decorated by hand. It's woven of green silk and with gold. She offers it to him. He says, no, I can't take it. And she says, now, are you refusing this because you think it's worthless? That is, you refused the ring because you thought it was worth too much. Are you refusing this because you think it's worthless? Because it's not really, because this thing is like an Allstate insurance plan. You put this thing around you and you cannot be killed. He's like, tomorrow, big giant green, yeah, I'll take it. Whoever is buckled into this green belt, line 1851, as long as it is tightly fastened about it, there is no man on earth who can strike him down. Then the knight reflected, and it flashed into his mind. This would be a godsend for the hazard he must face. So he takes it. And she begged him to loyally hide it from her husband. He gives his word. Okay? He gives her heartfelt thanks. He kisses her. She kisses him, whichever, 3 times. She leaves. What does he do? He gets up, gets dressed to the nines, and then he goes to the priest and says confession. Okay? What quote-unquote sins does he have to confess at this point? Kissed another man's wife? Okay, maybe that's worthy of confession. Has he violated his agreement with the Lord yet? No, that doesn't come till tonight. Okay? But he confesses himself honestly, admits his sins, both great and small, begs forgiveness. Priest gives him absolution, makes him as clean as if the judgment were appointed for the next day. Only problem is between this moment and the next day, there's 24 hours or so. Plenty of time to sin. Okay? So the knight comes back, and he gives Sir Gawain the fox pelt. And Sir Gawain gives him a kiss. Okay? So, New Year's Day comes. And the knight lends Sir Gawain, the porter, to lead him to the Green Chapel. And line 2091. The porter says, I've guided you here, sir, on this day. You're not far from that notorious place. Okay? I know who you are. You're a man I love dearly. And if you follow my advice, you wouldn't go to that place. You just ride your way on home, and nobody will be the wiser. I won't tell anybody. You don't tell anybody. Nobody will know. Okay? 2018. Therefore, good Sir Gawain, let the man be. Okay? He describes the knight like he's a devil. And for God's sake, get away from here by some other road. I'll go home. I'll tell everybody, yeah, led you to the Green Chapel. Sir Gawain replies. 21:27. Good luck to you, man, who wishes my good and that you would loyally keep my secret, I truly believe. But however closely you kept it, if I avoided this place, took to my heels in fright in the way you propose, I should be a cowardly knight and could not be excused. But I will go to the chapel, whatever may chance. Okay, so what's he saying? No, I've got a rendezvous with destiny. I have to go. But is he being completely honest, even with himself here? Because what does he have? He's got the belt. He thinks it's his ace in the hole. Okay? I must go and discuss with that man whatever matter I please, whether good or ill come of it, as destiny decides. Okay? His faithful servants, God knows well how to defend. How much faith is he putting in God? Or is he putting it in the green belt? Another guy says, all right, have fun storming the castle, So the other guy rides away, and Sir Gawain is left alone, 21:55. And Sir Gawain says, by God himself I shall not moan or cry. My life is in his hands. His will I shall obey. Well, my life is in his hands and his magical belt. So he goes off to find the Green Chapel. And he goes and he finds a big mound, has a hole at the end. And he thinks, can this be the chapel? Here, probably at midnight, the devil, his matin, says. It's a barrow, essentially. Like a burial barrow. Okay? And Sir Gawain says, 21:89, this is a desolate place. This chapel looks evil with grass overgrown. Because everybody knows a proper chapel doesn't have grass inside it, Here, fittingly, might the man dressed in green perform his devotions in devilish ways. Now, notice all this stuff he's assuming about the Green Knight. Okay? It is the most damnable church I was ever inside. So he cries out, who is master of this place? And all he hears is, wait. Here's another voice. Wait. And you shall quickly have all that I promised you once. And Sir Gawain hears the voice. He doesn't see where it's coming from. But he hears another noise. The other noise is kind of a whoosh, 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 as the knight is turning the whetstone that is sharpening his new axe. Okay? And Sir Gawain knows what that sound is. A Danish axe, newly made for dealing the blow, with a massive blade curving back on the shaft, honed with a whetstone, 4 feet across. No less than that. Okay? So the knight comes to Sir Gawain. May God protect you. Is that something a devilish man would say? Or a devil worshiper? You are indeed welcome, sir, to my place. You have timed your journey as a true man should. And you know the agreement settled between us. Okay? Nobody else here to stop us. So Sir Gawain says, no, by God who gave me a soul, I shall bear you no grudge at all, whatever hurt comes about. Limit yourself to one blow, and I'll stand still and not resist whatever it pleases you to do at all. He bends over, pulls his shirt back, and seeming unafraid, he would not shrink in fear. So the Green Knight goes up to him, raises his axe, and with all the strength in his body, keep in mind he's huge, heaved it in the air, swung it as fiercely as if meaning to mangle him. Had he brought the axe down as forcibly as he acted, the courageous knight would have been killed by the blow. But Sir Gawain does what? He's like this, the knight's standing here, and he looks, and he sees the knight start to swing, and he does this. He flinches. Okay? by doing this, there's no neck to hit. He wants it, nice stretched out, nice clean cut, okay? The other man checked the bright steel with a jerk and they rebuked the prince, okay? So we've had one swing. You're not Gawain, who is reputed so good, who never quailed from an army on valley or on hill, and now flinches for fear before he feels any hurt. Sir Gawain, 2280. I flinched once, but I won't twice hunch my neck. Okay? Come on, do it. So Sir Gawain bends over again. This time, he swings the axe at him savagely without harming the man, checked his blow suddenly before it could inflict hurt. Why? Maybe this is something only guys understand, or maybe it's only guys of a certain age understand. You're playing chicken or something. Yeah, he's going to make sure he's not going to flinch this time. Okay? So, he doesn't flinch this time. He said, okay, I see you have your courage back. So now that you've found courage, it's time for the blow. Now may the order of knighthood given you by Arthur preserve you and your neck this time, if it has power. That is, if it, the order of knighthood, has power. Okay. Sir Gawain bends over. The knight takes his stance, swings. 2310, with the cutting edge of the blade over Gawain's bare neck. Although he struck fiercely, he hurt him no more than to slash the back of his neck, laying open the skin. It's essentially a nick. It's, we think slash is like, cut across. No, it's enough for some blood to splurt out, but it's not enough to seriously wound him. Okay? But what happens? As soon as the bright splurt of blood shoots over Sir Gawain's shoulders and he sees it, he jumps. He jumps, a good axe length away, okay, from the knight. And says, 23:22, hold your attack, sir, don't try it again. I've passively taken a blow in this place. If you offer me another, I shall replay it promptly. Meanwhile, what is the knight doing? He's standing there like this. He's got his arms resting on his axe. Okay? He's not in a battle stance. He's not getting armed to the teeth. He's just sitting there watching Sir Gawain, seeing how valiant, fearlessly bold he stood there, armed and undaunted. He admired him much. Brave sir, don't act so wrathfully in this place. No one has discourteously mistreated you here, or acted contrary to the covenant sworn at the king's court. I promised you, well, you have it. Think yourself well paid. I free you from the rest of all other obligations. Now, Sir Gawain's got to be thinking, whoa, what other obligations? What are you talking about? Had I been more dexterous, maybe I could have dealt you a spiteful blow to have roused your anger. For first, I threatened you playfully with a pretense. Doing so rightly because the agreement we made on the first night. So what has he just told Sir Gawain? It's my castle you spent the last 3 nights at. When you faithfully and truly kept your pledged word, gave me all your winnings. The other feint, sir, I gave you for the next day, when you kissed my lovely wife and gave me those kisses. Both occasions, I aimed at you 2 mere mock blows without harm. Why? Because the kisses that Sir Gawain received from the wife were mock blows. He didn't take any harm from them. She didn't take any harm from them. True man must pay back truly, then he need nothing fear. You failed me the 3rd time. Why? Because that sash you're wearing, yeah, I know, it's hidden under there. It's mine. For it is my belt you are wearing, that same woven girdle. My own wife gave it to you. I know well and truth. I know all about your kisses and your courteous manners and my wife's wooing of you, I arranged it myself. Weird marriage here. I put her up to it. I sent her to test you. And to me, truly, you seem one of the most perfect men who ever walked on the earth. His pearls are more valuable than the white peas. So is Gawain in all truth before other fair knights. Only here you fell short a little and lacked fidelity. Here? What's the here? Because you wanted to live. You didn't fall short and lack fidelity because you wanted to have sex with my wife. No, you just wanted to live. Can't really blame you for that, you know. So I blame you the less. Meanwhile, Sir Gawain's standing there, jaw dropping. He's still trying to process. Your wife? But you weren't green, you know, before. Curse upon cowardice and covetousness, Sir Gawain says. Notice what he curses. Cowardice, covetousness. Why? Why those two?
He's calling Gawain a coward
Okay. How is he a coward?
for not going in without the belt.
Wanting to save his life. What's Christ say? He who would save his life must lose it for my sake. Okay? Covetousness, he desired the belt once he learned it could protect him. Okay? You, cowardice and covetousness, breed boorishness and vice that ruin virtue. Unknots the belt, throws it at the knight. There it is, that false thing, may the devil take it. The belt's a belt. It's not false or true. It just is, you know. Fear of your blow taught me cowardice. Think about that for a second. Hold on, let me see here. Yeah, the Middle English is actually taught. Okay? I was curious. Sometimes translators do funny things. Is it really that fear of the blow taught him cowardice? No, I don't think so, at least. Keep in mind, Sir Gawain's all about, defending his reputation. It revealed cowardice. That is, he didn't have to learn cowardice. Cowardice was already there. He just brought it out. To give way to covetousness. To be false to my nature. Whoa. What is Sir Gawain saying about his nature? What does he mean by nature? Does he mean his nature as a knight of the Round Table? That may be what he means. But what does it really mean? What is any individual in this classroom's nature? Human nature. It's what you're born with. Okay? What is a central tenet, T-E-N-E-T, of the Western Christian Church? Catholicism, for example. Original sin. Everybody is born maimed. Okay? Damaged. And what is Sir Gawain saying? Not me. I was born perfect. Okay? To be false to my nature. The generosity and fidelity expected of knights. That's what he means by nature. But that's not nature. Those are things you learn. Generosity and faithfulness. Notice, generosity. How's he been false to generosity? Well, he gave the kisses. He didn't give the belt. Kept that for himself. That's not being generous. Nor was it being faithful. So he says, sir, I humbly confess, my good name is marred. Let me regain your trust. And the other guy just starts laughing at him. Chill out, man. He says, I hold you clean. You know, you've confessed yourself. You're absolved. In other words, I don't need to do anything. You see yourself now. That's all you needed to do. Okay? So what does Sir Gawain do? The knight says, or the knight invites Sir Gawain and says, come on back to the house. Let me introduce my wife to you again. Etc. And he says, no, commend me to your lovely wife and to the other one. And he launches into a spiel about what? Women. Women. They're the source of all woe to men. It was a popular etymology for the word woman. Woe to men. Okay? He blames everything on women. You know, Adam, Eve. Samson, Delilah. David, Bathsheba. Okay, now that's the weird one when you think about it. If you're familiar with the story of David and Bathsheba, what's Bathsheba doing?
Living her
She
life.
is minding her own business, taking a bath up on the roof of her apartment. Okay. 12th century BC, lifestyle. And what's David doing? Somebody give me binoculars, Calls her over, essentially rapes her, sends her husband off to the front lines after he finds out she's pregnant. Okay? Because her husband's the only one who could say, not with me. Because according to, Kings, he hasn't slept with her because he's in the midst of, fighting for the king and stuff. Okay? So he blames women for all these problems. So, the knight lets him, get all this off his chest. And then he says, when Sir Gawain asks, what's your name? Sir Bertilac of Haute Desert. Bertilac, and a lot of people, scholars in the early part of the 20th century, want to make a lot of hay with his name. Bertilac, the green lake by the high desert. So they're like, well, this tells us where it's located. If we could find a green lake by the high moors. Nobody ever found out anything about that. Okay? So he says, how am I green, you want to know? Well, it's Morgan Le Fay, who lives under my roof. She did this. Morgan the goddess, therefore, is her name. She's your aunt, remember? Because she's Arthur's sister. She sent me in this shape, page 351 at the top. She sent me in this shape to your splendid hall to make trial of your pride. The your is not necessarily Sir Gawain's individually. It's all of Camelot's. And to judge the truth of the great reputation attached to the Round Table. She sent me to drive you, demented with this marvel, to have terrified Guinevere and caused her to die. Morgan wanted to kill Guinevere. Okay? But it didn't work. She's actually your aunt, Arthur's half-sister, the Duchess of Tintagel's daughter, whom noble Uther afterwards begot Arthur upon, who now is king. So, come on, come back, visit your aunt. And he's like, no, not if she turns people green. I'm not going there. So Sir Gawain goes and rides back home. And he's welcomed. In 2505, he explains to Arthur and the knights, see, my lord, holds up the girdle, this belt caused the scar that I bear on my neck. Notice what he's just done. Yeah, he blames the belt. Well, the belt didn't jump on him and wrap itself around him and tie itself. Okay? This belt caused the scar that I bear on my neck. This is the injury and damage that I have suffered for the cowardice and covetousness that sees me there. This is the token of the dishonesty I was caught committing. The 5 fives, of the Pentateuch, he violates all 5 of them, okay, in accepting the belt. For a man may hide his misdeed, but never erase it. That is, I'm going to wear this belt for as long as I live now. For a man may hide his misdeed, but never erase it. For once it takes root, the stain can never be lifted. This could be the late medieval poet talking about original sin. Okay? So what happens? The king, Arthur, consoles the knight, and the whole court laughs loudly about it. And they agree that lords and ladies who belong to the table, each member of the brotherhood, should wear such a belt, a baldric of bright green, crosswise on the body, so like this, similar to Sir Gawain's. And that became part of the renown of the Round Table. And whoever afterwards wore it was always honored, as is set down in the most reputable books of romance. Okay? Now, they take as a motto, or we have a motto at the bottom, "Honnête soit qui mal y pense," okay, which has a variety of interpretations. You've got the one on 352. Evil be to him who evil thinks. Okay? Evil be to him who evil thinks. That is, if you think evil, you are evil, or it will be evil for you. Reverse of that is, if you think good, things will be good. It's essentially kind of a paraphrase of what St. Paul says in one of his letters. Yeah, you know. If you think something's been dedicated to idols and it's therefore tainted, don't eat it. If you don't. If you don't have any problem with eating meat, eat meat. If you have a problem with eating meat, don't eat meat. You know, that kind of thing. Now, the Order of the Garter was founded around 1344. So the poem can't be written before then, because the motto there is the motto of the Order of the Garter. Okay? Some people think that the poem was possibly written as a means of showing the founding of the Order of the Garter. The Order of the Garter still exists. The Queen every year still admits people to the Order of the Garter, and they have a green sash that they wear. It's part of her annual, I can't remember what they call it. Not knightings, but it's where people become Order of the British Empire and things like that. Okay? So one copy of this. What's the poem ultimately about? Is it about knightly behavior? Is it about chivalry? Is it about courtly love? Yeah. Or does it ultimately have a deeper kind of a theological meaning? Talking about human nature. Okay? Because again, at the beginning of the poem, how is Sir Gawain described? Well, he's described by himself. He's the lowest of them. Okay? He's the dumbest of them, so to speak. And then we get his fame, his reputation built up within the body of the poem. And at the end, what happens? It's trashed again, essentially. Okay? So we have somebody who believes his own press clippings and then has to do what? Look in the mirror and come to grips with that. Now, when we do Chaucer, starting on Thursday, we're going to meet a bunch of different characters in the general prologue. But then we're going to talk about specifically the wife of Bath and the wife of Bath's tale. Okay? The prologue is longer than the tale. We're going to skip probably most of the prologue. Most of the prologue is the wife of Bath going on a, what it's frequently called, an how do I put this? Anti-feminist rant, or a pro-feminist rant, okay? Saying, women aren't the cause of all the problems in the world, but men say women are the cause of all the problems in the world. And then we're gonna focus on her actual tale, because her tale is an Arthurian tale. About a knight who rapes a woman. And the woman demands justice from the queen, Guinevere. And Arthur says, okay, Guinevere gets to dispense justice. And so the queen tells the knight he has to find out something. You might have seen the movie with Helen Hunt and Mel Gibson. What Women Want. The knight has to discover what it is women want. And so he goes off for a year and a day. Okay. I'll just leave it at that, and we'll talk about what you think they want. Whether you're a woman or not, you may not know. So.